The Cardinals are eyeing a rotation upgrade, and rumors are swirling around one surprising veteran starter. Is St. Louis ready to make the move, though? This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafron, a former national radio sports anchor, born and raised in St. Louis, a lifetime Cardinals fan, and welcome to Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Thank you to our everydayers for being here with us. Thank you to all of you who are new. Welcome in. We hope you enjoy the content. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving you all the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. On today's show, we'll take a look at some of the rumors swirling in regard to the NL Central. Could the Reds really land one of the top free agent hitters on the market? We'll discuss the latest on the Willson Contreras situation and how that could benefit the Cardinals and why they would make such a move as, trading Willson Contreras, why they would do that. But we'll begin today with the starting rotation, which as of today doesn't have a whole lot of experience going into 2026. Will that change? I would think so. It would shock me if the Cardinals didn't bring in some sort of veteran presence onto the team to compete for a spot in the rotation, if not be handed a spot in the rotation, depending on the level of that veteran that they sign. Without Sonny Gray, you are now looking at newly acquired Richard Fitts, who has 14 career starts. Matthew Liberatore, 53 career starts. Michael McGreevy, 19 career starts. Kyle Leahy has 1 career start. And then Andre Pallante, by default, has 61 career starts as your top options for the starting 5 in your rotation. Kind of lean. Last year, Sonny Gray and Miles Michaelis combined to give you 63 starts together, which is more than the most experienced starter that you have in the rotation right now, when Andre Pallante has had in his entire career. And 31 of those starts for Pallante just came last season when he was a dreadful 6-15 with a 5.31 ERA. Most teams would never have let that guy get to 31 starts. The Cardinals, we'll stick with it. What do we got to lose? Let's keep them going out there. Why not? Now, you do have some guys in the minor leagues that can be ready to step up at some point in 2026. Quinn Mathews, Bryson Motts, Max Ratchick, all 3 of them have been the Cardinals' minor league players of the year the last 3 seasons. Gordon Graceffa won it in 2022. I'm assuming he's going to remain as a bullpen guy. I don't know that, but I would assume that's what's going to happen. But it could change. But they've got guys that have shown the ability to be pretty darn good in the minor leagues. Can they finally make the push and make it up to the major leagues this year? We'll see. Cooper Hjerpe, people are excited about him. He's coming back from his injury this season, though. He's never pitched above Double-A. Tinkins is always dealing with something, so it's hard to trust him at this point. No Tekoa Roby. He's down with an injury from last season, so you can see why finding the right fit with a veteran would make a ton of sense for the Cardinals. And the Cardinals, on their side, they're not looking to break the bank, right? They're not trying to just go out and spend a ton of money on a starter, although they've said that if the right fit made sense, they would entertain a longer deal. But I'm not going to get my hopes up on that whatsoever. I would not expect that to happen. I'll be pleasantly surprised if it does, but I don't expect it. So a likely target for this team would be someone that is looking for a short deal, 1-year deal, maybe 2 with an option, has a history of success at some point. All right. You're not trying to just get some guy who hasn't shown the ability to do anything at the major league level in the first place. That's not going to help you any. But you want somebody who's got a track record, has done some good things, and perhaps is coming off an injury and looking to re-solidify himself as a viable starter in the major leagues, and would find a place like St. Louis comfortable, that it would be used to something like that. Maybe a Midwest type of guy. Maybe somebody who's pitched in the Midwest a few times in his career. And the name that is circulating as a top match for all of those things is right-hander Tyler Mahle. Now, not that long ago, if you're unfamiliar with who Tyler Mahle is, not that long ago, the now 31-year-old Mahle was a valuable trade deadline piece for the Cincinnati Reds, which is who we got drafted by. Got traded to the Minnesota Twins in a deal that netted the Reds prospects from the Twins at the time. They were Spencer Steer and Christian Encarnacion Strand. Now, Steer has been a big piece for the Reds in their recent success over the last couple of years, while Encarnacion Strand has shown plenty of power, but he can't seem to stay healthy. The point being that he was a wanted commodity. Like, people really wanted to get their hands on Tyler Mahle. In 2021, he had a 4.9 WAR with the Reds in one season. So he was pretty darn good, was having a good season in 2022 when he got traded. And the Twins paid a decent price for him. But then the injuries began. He had Tommy John surgery in 2023, which ended his tenure with the Twins. He became a free agent, signs a 2-year deal with the Texas Rangers because he's coming back from the injury. Shows back up in August of 24, only to go back on the IL right away with shoulder issues in that same month, which ended that season. Comes back last season, makes 14 starts, looks pretty darn good, goes 6-3 with a 2.34 ERA, 3.41 FIP, so everything kind of lines up. And once again, the injury bug bites him. This time it's a rotator strain, which knocks him out again until September, when he's able to make 2 more starts. Now, he doesn't pick up a win in those 2 starts, but he ends up throwing 9 2/3 innings, got a 0.93 ERA, only gave up 1 earned run, strikes out 10 to end the season with a 6-4 record, a 2.18 ERA in 16 starts, ERA plus at 168. So there's a lot to like there about those numbers and what Tyler Mahle can do when he's healthy, obviously. And it kind of sounds like the type of guy that the Cardinals would be willing to kick the tires on, doesn't it? Has pitched in Cincinnati, has pitched in Minnesota. Who's somebody else that has played for the Cardinals that did that? Oh, his name was Sonny Gray, and was pretty attracted to coming to St. Louis, felt comfortable there. Then Mahle went to the Texas Rangers, but, we also had Sonny Gray it was in Oakland, and then he was with the Yankees. So, but the Midwest seems to suit him. Tyler Mahle seems like he's pretty darn comfortable in the Midwest. Now, there certainly will be other suitors who will be intrigued with Tyler Mahle's upside. And so it's going to be on Chaim Bloom if this is somebody that they target as somebody that would look good for the Cardinals. They're going to have to woo him and pay him to get him to St. Louis. But the relationship, it just makes sense. It makes sense on the surface here for what the Cardinals are trying to do in 2026 and where Tyler Mahle is at in his career. Find a guy with top of the rotation ceiling that can be an anchor for this young staff, willing to be moved at the trade deadline if things are good, but we would love to get a crack at a spot in a rotation on a team like the Cardinals at this time. In a recent write-up at MLB.com, they have Mahle as a free agent match with the Cardinals as well, saying the Cardinals are clearly in reset mode after trading Sonny Gray, with more deals likely to come this winter, but St. Louis is in need of rotation help for 26. And with long-term deals seemingly not in its plans, the club could look to starting pitchers willing to sign for a year or two, which I have said for a while now. They point out Mahle's stats last year, says, be aware he has not reached the 100-inning mark since 2022. So that'll be 4 years come this season. So he could look to take a 1-year deal with the hopes of putting together a healthy year before testing free agency again next offseason. It fits. It makes sense. There are other names out there, solid names that you might be more familiar with. The Cardinals should have interest in that aren't top of the market guys. As much as we would love to see them talk to a guy like a Michael King or Zach Gallen or a Ranger Suarez, I'm just not going to get my hopes up to that. I don't believe that that's what they'll do. I don't think they're in the mindset of looking at those guys and saying, yes, we should throw a bunch of money at them right now. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. But looking at the rest of the free agent list, you've got other names that are a couple tiers down from that. A Zach Eflin, a Zach Littell. Apparently, Zachs are in this year. Zach Gallen, Eflin, Littell. They're all spelled differently, too, the way they spell Zach, which is a little weird. But Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, are you willing to talk to them at their age? Michael Lorenzen, who was with the Royals. Would you roll with a Jose Quintana at his age, 37? Pitched pretty darn good with the Brewers last year. We brought up Dustin May before. We brought up Walker Buehler, who pitched well when he got to the Phillies, but was awful in Boston. So these are guys that I think would be intriguing. None of them are sure things by any means. There's obviously some alarms that will go off about a few of them. But this is kind of the area where the Cardinals are going to do their shopping this year. And, with any extra money that they save from, the Sonny Gray trade, obviously, they don't have to pay him his full deal anymore. What can they recoup from trading Nolan Arenado? How much do they have to eat there? Perhaps even a Willson Contreras trade. So let me know your thoughts below. We'll talk about Willson Contreras and what former Cardinals writer, that's right, former Cardinals writer Katie Woo had to say about his situation. Coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, suddenly everything just feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. Exciting things are happening, and it makes you want to get up on the app and start placing your bets. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. It's great. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment, you can be in on it. New week is upon us. Thursday night, we'll have a huge matchup between the Cowboys and the Lions. Stars galore for you to place live bets on, whether it's Jahmyr Gibbs, Pickens, Lamb, Prescott, Goff. Not sure if Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to play this week, but Jameson Williams filled in quite nicely for the Lions. Had a big week against the Packers on Thanksgiving, although my Packers won. Let's not forget that. But live betting is best when the game starts to shift, when a receiver gets hot, when a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel will let you jump into the moment with the live spreads and money lines. They adjust instantly. The player props, which are awesome. You can bet next touchdown scores and a whole bunch more. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you enjoy daily Cardinals content, you can follow the podcast on X at @LO_Cardinals. We're also on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Now, in case you guys haven't heard, Katie Woo, who's been covering the Cardinals for The Athletic for the past 5 years, is moving on to cover the Dodgers next season. Not sure who's taking over for Katie yet. Haven't seen an announcement on that, but we'll find out soon enough. Like the winter meetings are coming up, somebody's going to have to do it. So we'll see what happens. But anyways, congratulations to Katie Woo. She's been on the show before. Fantastic reporter. And you could just kind of tell that she was starting to progress past the Cardinals, was doing more national stuff. I could just sense that something was going on. So Katie to LA, she's from California, I believe. So congratulations to her. But anyways, she wrote an article about the state of the Cardinals ahead of the winter meetings, which will begin on December 7th. Most of the stuff we kind of already knew. If you're an everydayer here at Locked On Cardinals, you know almost all of the stuff she brought up in this article. We've discussed it tirelessly because that's what we do here at Locked On Cardinals. She writes that St. Louis has established a clear line of offseason priorities. Now it's more pressing than trading Nolan Arenado, which we've said. After the Sonny Gray trade went down, what do we say? Nolan Arenado is the next domino that needs to fall first. It's got to be. You got to move on from him so you can figure out what the hell you're doing with the other guys on your roster, because everything kind of hinges on him to see where the infield shifts. Donovan, Gorman, what are you going to do with these guys? She continues saying that the Cardinals are committed to increasing roster flexibility, are actively listening on left-handed hitters because they've got a bunch. Donovan continues to garner the most interest, but rival clubs are also engaged on Lars Nootbaar and Nolan Gorman to a lesser extent. But not a bombshell announcement, but significant was that she brought up Willson Contreras, and Katie said that despite saying at the end of last season that he'd prefer to stay with the Cardinals, Willson Contreras is now more open to waive his full no-trade clause for the right fit, multiple league sources told The Athletic. Contreras has 2 years and $36.5 million remaining on his 5-year, $85 million deal that he signed ahead of the 23 season, along with a club option worth $17.5 million in 2028. This will not necessarily change the Cardinals' order of operations, but they will continue to gauge interest on Contreras and present the 10-year veteran with the option to approve a trade should one arise. Now, yesterday, my crossover with Sully from Locked On MLB, give him a follow if you haven't already. And thank you to all those of you who watched that one or listened to it. I said to him that Willie may not want out at this moment, but certainly needs to keep his options open. And why wouldn't he? As much as he may like it in St. Louis and like the organization and like playing with the Cardinals and enjoy the fans, does he really want to be on a team at this point in his career at age 33 that it seemingly has no shot at winning a World Series in the foreseeable future? They just don't. It's not expected. Sure, we could get surprised and, a bunch of these prospects come up and all of a sudden they're awesome again. It could happen. What's the likelihood of that happening? Slim. And I know that Willie's a great guy and he's a loyal guy and said that he wanted to help see the franchise through this stage of their rebuild. But if there's ever a time to be a little bit selfish and think about yourself, this is the time, Willie. And I don't think there's a single fan out there that would blame him for wanting to explore a better situation for himself and his family, just like we didn't blame Sonny for wanting out and saying, yeah, I get it. Well, I understand. Same thing with Arenado. Wants a better fit at this point in his career. It's not personal. It's business. They're not mad at the Cardinals. Cardinals aren't mad at them. It's just where they are in their careers. Having a veteran who's making a solid chunk of change at this point probably doesn't want to be around where the Cardinals are because they are in this transition. And the market for Willie might be pretty good, considering his numbers offensively. Hit the 20 dingers, career high in RBIs last year in 135 games. The fact that his transition to first base went over so well last year. Defensively, he was more than capable of manning the first base bag. You would think he'd get even better. Most of the errors that I remember seeing from Willie over at first base had nothing to do with fielding the ball. It was about throwing the ball in certain situations, specifically the double play balls over to second base. Like, remember when he was a catcher and he would, you throw it from the outside of the bag or inside of the baseline, and that's how you got around. Well, at first you just pivot and you got to find that spot real quick. You got to move so much quicker, and it was a little tough for him. But I thought Willie was fantastic at first base last year. More than capable, much better than I thought he was going to be after seeing somebody like Paul Goldschmidt play first base so well over the last few years. And you look around the free agent market at first base, and as far as like right-handed hitters go, you've got Pete Alonso, who, obviously huge bat, slugger, not great with the glove, which is one of the reasons why the Mets are kind of like, do we really want to bring him back? Can we make up for his offense in other ways and have somebody better playing first base? And then it kind of falls to guys like Paul Goldschmidt and Rhys Hoskins from the right side. So not a ton to choose from on the free agent market. Left-handed hitters a little bit better. Ryan O'Hearn's out there, Nathaniel Lowe, Luis Ariz, who has no pop whatsoever, but is a pretty annoying batter at the top of the order, but still not a lot to choose from that would wow you, right? If you're shopping free agent wise, like, are those the answers that you would want if you're somebody trying to win a title? So Contreras might be a guy the teams turn to. Katie continued saying the Cardinals do not view trading Contreras as something they must do. They are not nearly as motivated to move him as they are Arenado. Trading Contreras would open up first base full-time for Alec Burleson and could alleviate some payroll concerns. If a suitable partner does not jump out, St. Louis could hold on to Contreras to open the season, then pursue moving him at the trade deadline. Still, he's got a no-trade clause, so if he doesn't feel like leaving at the trade deadline, he doesn't have to, just like he doesn't have to leave now if he doesn't want to. If you did move him, though, like ramifications-wise, that would be yet another right-handed bat that you're moving on from, that you're losing. An extremely productive one at that. With Arenado more than likely gone, that's two right-handed bats that you're moving away in what was your starting lineup last year. So if you take them away from the right side, you're left with Mason Wen, Ivan Herrera, and Jordan Walker, with Pedro Pages, Thomas Ajacey, and Jose Fermin as the backup guys. Ugh. I feel like you got to go look at another right-handed bat somewhere, specifically in the outfield if you can, because if Jordan Walker doesn't work out again, you're going to be up poop creek without a paddle. So could that person be acquired in a deal for Willie or Nato or Donovan or Gorman or Neary? Sure. I suppose they could, but we'll have to wait and see. We don't know yet what they're going to do. So let's take a look at the latest rumors involving the NL Central. I thought this was interesting. My wife is a Reds fan. God bless her soul. And all they're talking about right now is this certain free agent. Do the Reds really have a shot at one of the biggest free agent bats that are available right now? A guy that hit over 50 home runs last year. We'll talk about it. And the Brewers coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. For your second listen, you can find Locked On MLB podcast where there is no offseason. Solely keeps you up to date on the contract negotiations, rumors, and everything you need to be the most informed MLB fan out there. Find Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So we know the Cardinals are not likely to be big spinners in free agency. Sure, there's that percentage that, hey, if we find the right fit, whatever. I'm not expecting it. But the rest of the division outside of the Brewers have been rumored to be in on multiple big-time free agents. Obviously, you have the Cubs still entertaining whether or not they're going to bring back Kyle Tucker. The Pirates' name has been thrown around, although I'll believe it when I see it. But their name has been like, hey, we want to spend a little bit of money this year. I don't know who they're going to talk to and get them to come to town to Pittsburgh, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, the struggle is real. Same way with the Cardinals, like trying to get a free agent to come to town in a not so winning situation. I don't know how that works, but the Reds and the Brewers are who I want to talk about here. The Reds stuck into the playoffs last year, as we know, got thumped by the Dodgers in the wild card. They got a solid young pitching staff, some pretty big arms in there, some good arms, a lot of upside. Going to have to rework the bullpen a little bit, but their sights, as far as offensively, are currently set on trying to bring Kyle Schwarber back to Ohio. For those of you who do not know, Kyle Schwarber grew up in Middletown, Ohio, which is about 35 miles north of Cincinnati. So the appeal of playing at home is clearly something that they're hoping will intrigue the soon-to-be 33-year-old power-hitting left-hander. Same way Cardinals fans are hoping that maybe Max Scherzer might have an interest in returning home to play with the Cardinals at some point. Reds fans are pleading that Kyle Schwarber, please come home, is what they're saying, to team up with their young core that's got some good pieces. Ellie De La Cruz, obviously. Noel De Marte. Sal Stewart was very good at the end of last year. Will Matt McClain come back and be the guy he was his rookie year? They got this, Spencer Steer is there. Is it a fantasy or a reality, though, that Kyle Schwarber could end up in the NL Central again? The Athletic's Ken Rosenthal reports that Schwarber is interested in a possible homecoming and that the Reds are serious about signing him, although he brings up the financial stuff here, and it makes me shake my head a little bit because according to Rosenthal, he brought up that Nick Kroll, who's the guy that runs things for the Reds, said that the team's 26 payroll would be about the same as it was in 25. If that remains true, the Reds have about $20 million to spend, according to Rosenthal. All right. You don't think another team can beat $20 million for Kyle Schwarber? Unless they're going to do the new cool thing and do the deferred money and stuff. Sure, maybe. I don't know. But I still find it hard to believe that the Phillies will let Schwarber get away. I mean, he's such a big part of their culture with Bryce Harper and Trey Turner. He fits so well there. Like, he just makes sense there. And it's been reported that he is a priority to the Phillies, but that no deal has been closed between the two sides yet, according to Jeff Passan at ESPN. The Mets are in the mix. John Paul Morosi says the Giants have checked in. We've also seen the names of the Red Sox, the Orioles, and then there was the Pirates as well. Their names have popped up in the Kyle Schwarber discussion as well. I know as a Cardinal fan, I don't want to see Kyle Schwarber back in the division anytime soon. I don't want him on any other team. So I certainly hope that he does not decide to go home. And I do not want to see him in a Reds or a Brewers or a Pirates or a Cubs uniform ever again. No, keep him out of here. So Phillies, can you just get this over with and bring him back already, or go to the West Coast. But stay out of the Central, Schwarber. I don't need to see you that much because even though I was looking up his stats against the Cardinals, I guess his career batting average against the Cardinals is only like 177, but he's got 14 home runs and 37 RB. He always seemed to come up in a big situation and hammer the Cardinals, especially when he was with the Cubs. So I don't want to see that anymore. And finally, the Brewers apparently might be open to trading their ace, Freddie Peralta. That could happen too. Apparently, Rosenthal said he's attracting significant interest from teams looking to trade for the right-hander so much that the Brewers are now considering cracking the door open for trade discussions. The right-hander is due to earn $8 million in 26, his final year under team control, making him a cost-effective alternative to the top starters on the free agent market. You just saw what guys like Dylan Cease just made. Yeah, that's a lot of dough. We know the Brewers aren't afraid to deal away guys before they hit the free agent market. You've seen them do it multiple times. Corbin Burns, Josh Hader, Devin Williams. They do it because they're smart, so they're not left with nothing to show for them, knowing that they are not going to compete with negotiations to bring those guys back. They're not going to be able to beat these other teams, or maybe they don't want to beat those other teams. I mean, some of these guys have gone on to other places. I mean, has Corbin Burns looked the same since he left Milwaukee? No, he hasn't been as good. Josh Hader has found success with the Astros. Remember, he struggled when he was out there with the Padres right away. Devin Williams just struggled mightily with the New York Yankees. So the Brewers have been able to cut ties with people at a very good time. They just have been able to find that right moment where they say, okay, bye-bye, and reap the benefits by getting the prospects in return. So as far as what the Brewers will look like without Peralta in their rotation, the Brandon Woodruff will be back. He signed that 1 year deal. So he'll be back. How healthy is he? I don't know. A lot of injuries recently. Jacob Mizorowski obviously is in the mix to be one of their top guys. Quinn Priester was an awesome pickup for them last year. Chad Patrick is back. I'm sure they've got other dudes waiting to get in there and be a part of that rotation. And they've been able to be really good at identifying guys to bring in that will be serviceable for them. So, the Brewers have been doing it right. The Cardinals want to be more like the Brewers right now and make smart decisions about guys like Willson Contreras and Brendan Donovan. All right, should we be trading them now, before the decline starts or before they become expensive? And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to figure it out and make smarter moves. Obviously, the Brewers' rotation wouldn't be as empty as the Cardinals is right now after trading Sonny Gray. If they traded Freddie Peralta, they still got some pretty good ammunition in that rotation already. And maybe that frees them up to go look at other people. So it'll be interesting to see if they move on from a Freddie Peralta. But I'm kind of glad that the Sonny Gray deal has gone down now so that, we're not waiting around for people to start bidding on him instead. You don't think the Red Sox would be like, oh, crap, we could have got Freddie Peralta instead of Sonny Gray? Shoot, we should have waited. I'm glad the Cardinals didn't. I'm glad Chaim Bloom's been aggressive and was able to move him right away. It's probably not going to be as easy with the Nolan Arenado. We'll see what kind of market Willson Contreras has. Obviously, Brendan Donovan seems to be a pretty good one. We'll see how it all shapes out. But winter meetings coming up in 4 days. So it's about to get real exciting up in here. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow on X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio, TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Like, subscribe on YouTube, help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason. We'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.